Okay, so I'm Marc Desplan. I'm a research engineer from Orange, working for at least 5 years around FIWARE and FIWARE projects and for digital farming and smart city. And I will try to explain you today how a European funded project could help fighting climate change. Yeah. Okay, so some obvious part, I think we all agree here that climate change is a real issue, at least for human beings, that human activity is its part of responsibility, and at least that we can still act to limit the effect. But to do so, we can't continue wasting resources. It's not only energy and so on. You have to be smart on everything and finding solution to have a better resource management, because we're wasting a lot too much thing. One example of the kind of project we can do is picture you have here. It's a small farm in Ivory Coast where we try to work with the farmer to find a better irrigation solution to help him improving the water consumption. So it's an example of what can IT solution can provide to help on this. But it's not the only problem we have to solve. And we also have to change the way we developing solution and the way we define the architecture of the project we use. For example, this farm, we start working on tomatoes, and we start working with them to deploy the solution and start making some tests with them. And after a few months, the guy come back to us and say, okay, tomato is good, but we want to do the same thing on other vegetable, for example, lettuce, and how we can do that. On previous company I've worked, one solution, one answer that could have been done is, okay, lettuce is a complete different vegetable, so you have to build another complete different solution, and that will be amazing, but you have to trash everything and buy a complete new solution. It's not acceptable anymore. Another problem is, for example, the company that delivers irrigation solution for tomatoes just decide to stop working or to not enhance the system to manage the vegetable, and that way the farmer has to go to another competitor, and the answer will probably be the same. It will be, okay, we can provide you a solution for lettuce, but you have to rebuild and rebuy everything and deploy everything again. And it's not possible to accept that, because it's too much waste of things, and we can't continue like that. We have to think of architecture to be more sustainable. We have to define solutions that could work. Sorry. That could evolve and could be adapted to the future of the needs of the customer. One of the things we have to do is our components have to be reusable, they have to be interoperable, and we have to be able to enhance the solution. To do so, we can work, of course, with open source, but some companies will not want to have open source everything of what they build. So at least what we need is to provide a common interface to propose to make all of those components interoperable. And we need a standard way to orchestrate the different modules in order to build something workable. For example, if you have common way to define how a soil master sensor will produce data to the system, and you define standard for that, it's easy to change the solution of SoilMaster to another one if you need something else, or you can mix two different kinds of technology if needed. One thing that is good to do this kind of stuff is FIWARE, for example, because FIWARE provide the context blocker that we can use as a data-driven orchestrator. And each time, so you can define a way that each data producer use common data models on FIWARE, so to push the data, and you can subscribe to the modification of the data for the other modules to react to them. So, for example, you can you have the data producers that produce the data, and the compute models that do stuff on your data will react when the data change. On smart irrigation, for example, when the SoilMaster sensor provide new data of the SoilMaster, you can activate the modules that calculate the needs of water for the plants, and then activate the irrigation if needed. So that's one thing that we can do for that. So with FIWARE, we can, and using microservice architecture, you have something that is very great. But you know, Orange is a big company, and I work for the research team, but we have a complete different team that is a business team. The problem is when I try to explain how my solution is good to the business team, the answer was quite weak. They say, okay, you provide us a nice solution, but we have to rely on standard we don't own and we don't manage. So it's a constraint. You provide a solution that make a competitor, that will allow a competitor to take your business easily. So it's not really good. And the benefit of this kind of architecture is providing solutions the client don't ask, really. So clearly, they don't want. And that's where the European project is really useful for me. Because with European funding project, Europe decides, of course, the topic of the project. You just they don't just give you money to do whatever you want. They provide you. They decide the topic you have to go on and so on. So it's allowed to address some topics that is not really bankable, or not obviously bankable at least. So it's really great. And you're not working alone on the project. You have to work with other partners on the project. So you have to share your knowledge, you have to share your experience, you have to share your technical solution, and you have to make sure that the software you develop and the solution you develop could work with what does the other partner. So you have to think the solution interoperable and so on. The other thing is on European funding projects, they impose you some technologies. So for example, if you answer to a project, putting FIWARE in it is a good thing if you want your project to be accepted. It's not mandatory, and it's not. It will not guarantee you that it will be accepted, but usually it's a good thing. And the other thing that is really great is you have to communicate a lot with your project. So you have to, the dissemination is a really important part of the grant agreement, usually. So you have to communicate, so you have to share your experience, also you can display the result of your work to the customer. You can display, you can demonstrate that the solution you work on a real project for your business team. And that's really great, because it's really helping us to pushing the solution. For example, I will show you later a project called Pixel. When the project starts, my business team doesn't want to hear about FIWARE. Now the project starts to have a result. They want to have a big presentation of it because they want to see if it's usable for the project we have on the business team. So you have to work on dissemination, and that's it. So on for example, on Orange, we have a different kind of project we work on actually with a European funding project. We have, for example, one project that is really nice is to check, to see how to manage the network energy consumption of the network design with the end-to-end consideration and with all the partners involved in the definition of the network. So it's a great project because on this project we try to enhance to reduce the energy consumption, but not only for one actor or for one specific equipment, but for the whole system. And so it's a really nice project. We have other projects. I don't see it. So we have project also another project about electric consumption for society, and we have, for example, we have another project that is other work on energy that is I try to find a way to optimize the way we consume energy for video distributing system. So for system like Netflix, video on demand, and so on. So we have those kind of projects that is funded by European Foundation, European. And the fact is, all those projects is really nice. It's good for environment, but for all the competitor working on it, it would not right now directly increase the business or make them win more money. So if the European Union don't have funding this kind of project, those kind of projects will not be addressed by this different competitor, or at least not the same way. Another project that you can show as an example of what we do is the Pixel project. So if you want information about Pixel, you have it on the web link. We don't get this part. Yeah, that's the last slide, and we'll be quick on this one. So on the Pixel project, we have a lot of data sources we try to import on the Pixel platform, and we use the data imported to run some common algorithm to calculate environmental impact for those. And what is great with the architecture we decide to use based on FIWARE and so on, is that all port provides the same kind of data, but with a completely different work. And to import those data, we just have to for each port to create a JSI agent to push the data on the system. And the good thing is what we develop for the Pixel platform for importing data can be reused by the port to share the data with everything. And that's what is great with this kind of project. We have to think something that is reusable outside the project itself. So we'll finish it.
Mark, I'm sorry, it's Mike here. I really love how you you're stressing the need for optimization and this idea of tackling internal and external resources, sustainable economic growth, and environmental impact mitigation. That's so important to get all those together. And so I just want to thank you for bringing that up. Also, I'm really, really happy that you mentioned that if you're pitching a project to the EU, use FIWARE to increase the chances of your project being accepted. That makes like so much sense that that might be one of the most important takeaways from this. So let's just to review, waste is bad, optimization is good. Optimization requires getting a handle around all of your parameters, and I think you did just such a great job of reminding us of that. So thank you so much. I'm going to